Good afternoon and welcome to the City of Knoxville Board of Zoning Appeals. I'm Amy Sherrill, I'm the chair of the BZA, and I will be conducting today's meeting. Alongside me are the other members of the BZA, and at the tables here on the side of the room are city staff members. Today's meeting will be conducted in the order of the agenda. Agendas are available near the table near the front entrance. Wanted to make everyone aware, this is a 5-person board and there are not 5 of us here. And with 3 of us present, it means we have to be unanimous in our decisions. So before we start discussing any cases, if there's anyone who would like to request a postponement to the February meeting, now would be a good time to do that so that we don't go through the pieces of the case and then postpone later. So if there's anyone requesting to do that, and then we have a couple of items that we will also need to postpone that were requested ahead of time, and a few items we don't have quorum to vote on. So does anyone in the audience want to postpone? Okay. Christine, can we do all the postpones in one?
I think that's okay.
Okay. So I'm going to make a motion to postpone the approval of the minutes from November 18th. We don't have a quorum to be able to approve those minutes. Item BZA 260001, as we will have one member will need to recuse and we will not have quorum on that item. And then BZA 260005, the applicant requested for a postponement. So again, it would be November 18th minutes, BZA 260001, both of those due to lack of quorum, and then BZA 260005, which is a request by the applicant.
And I'll second.
So we have a motion and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? Okay. I'm sorry.
Connection with that announcement about 3 members, do you know when the next sort of issue is?
I believe it's the 19th. Is all.
Are you asking about our meeting or?
Your meeting next month is?
The 17th. The third Tuesday of the month will be BZA, and the third Thursday of the month will be historic zoning.
Did you get that? Okay. What item were you? Okay, yours got postponed because we don't have quorum for your item.
Oh.
Yeah. Okay. Sorry. Okay, so I'm going to continue on with the sort of rules of the session. So pursuant to the BZA administrative rules, each matter on the agenda will be considered in the following order: staff comments, proponents, opponents, rebuttals, discussion among board members, motion, a second, discussion among board members, and a vote. Members of the public may address the board, and the following rules apply. Each person may speak once for 5 minutes and shall not have more than one time to speak, except that the chair may allow 2 minutes to the applicant for a rebuttal. When more than one person wants to speak to an issue, each side is limited to 3 speakers with 5 minutes each. The board may ask questions of any speaker and may allow more time or more speakers by vote. Speakers should limit their remarks to the facts of the case and should avoid repeating comments that have been previously presented to the board. All speakers should come to the podium and speak directly into the microphone. Speakers need to state their name and address for the record. Appeals of the decision by BZA are made to Knoxville City Council. A petition for such an appeal shall be filed with the Plans Review and Building Inspections Department not more than 15 days from the date of the BZA decision. We now call roll.
Amy Sherrill.
Here.
Brad Salisbury.
Here.
Daniel.
Here.
We have 2 absences.
Very good. So the first item on our agenda is going to be the minutes from the December 16th meeting.
I'll second.
We have a motion and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right, so the minutes have been approved. Next item here is BZA 260002. And as the applicant makes their way forward, we'll have staff comments.
Yes. The applicant is requesting one variance related to proposed eating and drinking establishment in R1 zoning district. The request is to decrease the minimum required off-street parking spaces for an eating and drinking establishment in the CR1 zoning district from 15 spaces to 0 spaces. The previous tenant was Butt Golf, which is interpreted as an amusement facility indoor use. Change of use to an eating and drinking establishment requires a recalculation of the property's parking. The subject property has no existing parking, and all existing parking is located on the adjacent property, which is developed as a shopping center. The subject property's deed references a non-exclusive easement for ingress and egress to and from Chapman Highway, with a non-exclusive easement for the use of the parking lot on the adjacent shopping center. The applicant suggests that all parking for the proposed eating and drinking establishment will occur within the adjacent parking lot.
Thank you. Will you state your name and address for the record, please?
Lynn Johnson, 724 Taylor Road. I don't think I have anything to say. It's what happened, that building has been used by Belmont as a storage building, the owner, and it does have the easement so that it's not landlocked. And there is an exclusive attachment to the deed that basically states that the owner of the property pays a fee every month for the use of any parking spaces that he needs for his occupancy. And that was the reason for taking it from, I think, 15 spaces down to 0.
Thank you. Is there anyone else here to speak in favor or in opposition to this item? Moving on to board discussion.
There's an easement in place and parking is available.
Yeah, that building has been unoccupied probably for 2 years now. It was used by, the owners tell me, it was used by Elmont, and Elmont was in the old post, which is just around.
The reason it doesn't count is it's not
located within the property.
with a shared agreement. They have it in their lease, but it's not the right terminology.
No, we just have to analyze everything for property boundaries.
So the first parking space has to be accessible. You cannot share it accessible. So in order to legalize this, they have to be a variance to 0. Because you can't get technically you can't get a lease agreement for able-bodied people and not use disabilities.
Okay. It looks like there's parking adjacent to it. It's just fine.
Just to apply for the spot.
Yeah.
I move that we approve BZA 26002 as requested due to existing conditions.
We have a motion and a second. All those in favor? Aye. All those opposed?
Thank you.
All right, next item on our agenda is BZA 260003. Applicant present. Oh, very good. 1 moment and we'll have staff comments and then we'll call on you, sir.
Yes. The applicant is requesting 2 variances related to a proposed single-family dwelling in an R1 zoning district. The first request is to decrease the minimum required front setback in R1 zoning district from 25 feet to 15 feet. The second is to decrease the minimum required rear setback in an R1 zoning district from 25 feet to 5 feet. The property is split zone between Knox County A and the city of Knoxville R1. Access to the property is proposed off a joint permanent access easement due to the topography along Foxville Road. The applicant should address if any alternative designs were reviewed that would meet the required setbacks.
Thank you. If the applicant could come off mute now and then if you'll start with stating your name and address for the record.
Yes, my name is Mohammed Nofel. My address is 8616 Majors Road, Knoxville, Tennessee, 37938. And I'm acting as the engineer and assisting the homeowner to explain the situation and explain this variance request. And as it was stated, the lot is in an odd shape, almost like a triangle. And if we observe the setbacks by the ordinances, it will render it not usable between the relief on the site and between the shape of the lot. It will become not usable, not buildable. We request kindly to consider the situation, which also the adjacent lot where we requesting reduction in a setback is actually a detention pond area, or an area that's housing a detention pond, which will never be developed anyways. And then the other side would be the driveway that is serving the three properties, and the third side it is Foxview right of way, which currently just serving a few houses down the road. So we'd like to appeal to the board to consider these conditions and the usability of the lot, and to grant us these reduction in setbacks so the lot can be used.
Thank you very much. Is there anyone else here to speak in favor or in opposition of this item? Okay, very good. Sir, I don't know if you can see in the room, but we do have someone here to speak, so we'll put you back on mute and we'll ask you all to come forward. And if you'll state your name and address for the record as well. Okay.
Charles Holbrook, 994 Cold Springs Lane, in the Foxview subdivision. I am here to formally express my opposition to BZA 26003, proposed construction of a house within our neighboring area. I have been a resident of Foxview subdivision for 19 years. I live in the first house on the right as you enter the subdivision, property number 1. I purchased my home because it was a quiet neighborhood off the main road and was already established. No construction pending, as all the plots were finished with homes. The proposed request of variance leads me to several concerns. For one, a 5 to 15 foot proposed easement is not within current regulations and would put the proposed home entirely too close to the street, resulting in safety issues for both the residents of Foxview and the residents living in the new proposed home. 2, the construction of the proposed site would destroy the wooded area that has protected our community from not only erosion, but aesthetically adds to the appeal of our neighborhood. Erosion could easily result in mudslides and would have a negative impact on Foxview residents and emergency vehicles entering access to our community. Foxview is a very narrow street and only one way in and out. 3, proposal on page 3, RN1 includes a small retention pond to the southwest of 9960 Coral Springs Lane, property number 41. The retention pond northwest of 9940 Coral Springs Lane, property 1 is also. Both homes would be adversely affected by this requested variance, which is outside of existing zoning regulations. RN1 also includes the Foxview subdivision entrance. Number 4, if approved, there would be years of construction on and around Foxview Road. That would be a safety hazard for the 41 families that live in our community and also a huge disruption to our lives. Developing that property so close to Foxview would negatively affect our home values and the safety of our families. We believe the existing zoning regulations are there for a reason, to protect homeowners from having a negative impact on property value. Therefore, please consider the adverse effects that would have on our community of 41 families and deny the variance request BZA 26003. I also have from one of our neighbors another document I could read real quickly, if that's okay.
I assume that's okay.
Okay, this is
Writing a letter on behalf of somebody else,
Yeah.
does he need to,
and I can mention who they are if you like.
Are you here in an official capacity representing a neighborhood group?
Well, there's no real neighborhood group, it's just 41 families that love where we live, and it'd be really affecting us one way in, one way out.
does it have things that you haven't already mentioned?
Probably not. I think it's about the same. It's just people who care.
Okay. Well, thank you very much for being here. And
Yeah.
is there anyone else here to speak? Great.
Thank you.
Yes, thank you.
Please consider that.
All right, we have one more, and then if the applicant wants to respond to any of these items, you'll have a couple minutes to do that.
Hi, I'm Kathy Holbrook, Charlie's wife. I've been on for a Coral Springs Lane. I'm here on behalf of Jacob and Jessica Calhoun. They are at property 41 at 9960 Coral Springs Lane. They could not be here today. May I read your letter?
Yes.
Okay. This is how strongly I feel about this and how passionate I'm opposed to this as well, because I don't like to speak in public, and here I am not killing it. So, dear members of the board, I've already formally expressed our opposition to the requested variance and the proposed construction of a house within our neighborhood. We are the neighboring property owners who would most likely be affected by this variance, as the proposed construction would encroach approximately 5 feet onto or toward our property. This encroachment raises significant concerns regarding property boundaries, privacy, and our ability to fully use and enjoy our land. One of the main reasons we purchased our home was the beauty and preservation of the surrounding natural forest. We do not want this forested area to take on the appearance of a developed project, as we value the privacy, scenic views, and natural character it provides. The proposed construction and requested variance would significantly impact this setting, which is an important and defining characteristic of both our property and the neighborhood. The requested variance does not align with existing zoning regulations that were established to protect the character, safety, and integrity of our community. Granting this variance would set a concerning precedent and could negatively impact surrounding properties and residents. Additionally, the construction of this house would alter the established nature of the neighborhood and may lead to increased traffic, reduced privacy, and potential impacts on property values. Any resident chose to live in this neighborhood based on its current layout, density, and zoning standards, and we believe those standards should be upheld. For those reasons, we respectfully request that the board deny the variance and carefully consider the concerns of the residents who will be directly affected by this decision. Thank you.
Thank you. Any others here today? Okay. If the applicant, if you have anything you want to respond to directly, you've got 2 minutes allotted to do that, sir.
Yes, absolutely. And we do appreciate the feedback from the community, and they have the right to do this. So I would like to mention to the board and to the community that where this lot is sitting, it will not be accessed from Foxview Road. It will be accessed from the driveway that actually feeding and servicing a school building with about 200 students and parents and pickup and delivery. So adding one more residence, one more entrance, I'm not sure how many disturbance or extra disturbance that's going to impose. Number two is the site, since it's not going to be accessed from Foxview Road, that site will have a fence, and the fence will have trees, and it will be at least safe for people to get in and out from Foxview Road. So all access is going to be done from the driveway, which is also from a parcel that is owned by the same person, and it is dedicated easement to serve the school building as well as the property behind it. So with all these factors, I don't believe that this will add any noticeable traffic to the road that it's already in. So that's all I would like to say. I'm not sure how reducing the setback from Foxview Road will add again, any danger or any risk to pedestrians or to motorists that are traveling the road from the community and back and forth. The other side, which is the uphill side, is also not going to impact the vegetation, the trees, and whatever is already there around that sedimentation pond, which is uphill of the residents already. There's no additional grading or clearing is going to take place on that lot. So the only lot that is a very small piece of land is about less than half an acre. That's going to be impacted. That's all.
Thank you very much. Okay, with that, let's open for board discussion.
Just for my clarity, real quick, which way is the uphill side?
Uphill side would be the east.
See, this is not going to be this. Sir, are you able to, I know you're here on behalf of the owner and you're not, I'm curious why, if the parcel is sort of two pieces, and I'm curious about why they opted, or more interested in building on this lower portion as opposed to the larger portion on the other side of the easement?
The other side of the portion, the other side of the easement is already been sold. This is the only one, so that's not theirs anymore.
Got it. Okay, it shows up as one still in what I was looking at. Thank you for that clarification.
Yes, ma'am.
This is current. I think, I certainly understand the comments coming from the neighbors. I'm not sure that I envision quite the impact, obviously, that they're concerned about, but this is a very odd shaped parcel. It's RN1, you're limited on the uses that you could have in here. I don't know what else you would do in this case.
Concerned about settings.
For the school.
No, on Foxview Road from the driveway to the house in front.
That's super. The right is huge.
On Foxview?
Yeah. Do you know the depth of the right of way is?
The driveway is large, exact depth. Just from the center line of pavement, it's 77 feet. It's not flat, but there's a large driveway, so
That's just to the property line?
just to, that's a property line to the center line. As far as the site distance itself, probably that doing that now. I will say that we generally request the access to be off the JPE rather than right away, just it's a common access point, keep those entrances and exits off of the primary driveway path. So that is preferred in this situation as well. As far as site distance goes, the 600 box is fairly flat, fairly straight. Probably requires a deeper analysis of the same as well as tax. Maybe not massive impacts, but probably better still to come off the JBE, just given the traffic conditions on the JBE. In comparison to the Knoxville. Probably on lower speeds. JBE running lower speed traffic.
Especially because the school's there.
Maybe it's a grade, it's just very steep, very fluxes. Flat.
I think the other part to me is the applicant the request for variances, one is on the detention pond and the other is on the right of way, which is already fairly deep. It seems like those two request points are, they're not attracting a resident. Occupant parcel.
Could you come up a little bit? I'm not certain I'm tracking with the opposition. The variances that are being requested, and I just want to ask you feedback. The variances being requested are on sides of the property that are not directly related to the neighborhood next door. Construction is always challenging. Sure. There's no way around that. I work in the building industry, and no matter how kind we try to be, the neighbors always frustrate me. They don't build something. So I'm not certain I understand the opposition other than just you just don't want it to happen.
Well, if you're coming Fox View heading kind of southeast, you'll notice to your left, the grade is about like this. And my understanding was 25 feet from Fox View, 15 feet from Fox View, which would literally put the back of the house, just feet from the road. Yeah, that's one thing. There's traffic, and Fox View goes up a hill, then levels off, and then comes down. So it's kind of a blind hill. I've lived there for a long time. And when people are walking a dog or something, you really got to be careful because it's kind of blind view. But our biggest concern is if a house is put on that hill, which is about a 30 to 40 degree hill, you can see it there, especially RA. If you get too close to that, I don't see how you could put a house in the back. I looked at the blueprints or prints of the house. The back porch will literally be just feet from Fox View. And I don't see how that could be safe.
That seems a little deceiving.
Yeah, I think so if you look at the map that's up on the screen now, the edge
Can I
of,
get closer?
yeah, of course, yeah. The Fox View Road edge is actually here.
Right, yes,
And
ma'am.
the property line is set back.
Right.
So that's what Austin was commenting, you're 70 or so feet to the property
Okay.
line. And then their request is 15 feet off of that. So and it is hard to see that on the plans, that's why I asked the same question.
Like this much better to see.
Yeah.
You see 9960, see how close it is to the property line there? They were concerned because their driveway, and so I wish they could be here.
So their driveway, this one is gonna be coming off of here, and the house will be largely set back here. But I do think this was hard to read on the plans.
That's very hard to do. And we much of us maybe stepped together and discussed it.
Yeah.
If you look at 9960, they're gonna be about the same distance off of Fox View.
Okay, so also, they're not gonna cut these trees right there, are they? Because coming up Fox View, you got this beautiful hedgerow.
We can't speak to that, but there is a pretty steep grade there.
It's very steep.
And it's probably not to do it. From what we can see, the area of disturbance is probably not.
So the property line is not on Fox View itself. So this is where-
It's a very, very big setback for right of way.
So they're gonna set back about 75 feet.
And then 15 feet from there would be the edge. So I think that should help alleviate some of that concern.
And there's a huge, you can see the power lines come through there too.
Yeah.
We have issues sometimes with those going
Yeah.
out, that's another thing.
So on the face of it, this would be a typical parcel that would qualify for variances because it's challenging to work with, period.
Yeah.
And from what we're seeing, they are squeezing that house in there,
Yeah.
and the variances would actually be appropriate in order to not deprive them of beneficial use of that piece of land, in my opinion. And I can't speak for the entire board, but I get the concerns, but that's why I was confused, is I feel like they're addressing your concerns with this design. So by large part, you're gonna have some frustration while it's being built, there's no way around it.
And we all know that with construction going on in the city as it is. So you keep me from being confused and speaking by the neighbors. RA, the property's not being built on RA, it's gonna be built on R.
They don't, so these maps aren't reflective of current ownership, so they don't own that upper parcel. They only own the lower parcel here.
Like a golf club.
Yeah, so they don't have, that is the entirety of what they own. They don't have another option. And as Daniel said, one of our, considerations is if they don't get the variances, are they deprived of beneficial use? And I agree in this case that they would be. That a single house is the least dense thing you can build on any property.
Right, like I said, everybody's concern was the fact that the porch looked like it was gonna be 15 feet off of Fox View. I mean, that's the way everybody that it discussed, but if it's already 70 feet plus additional 15, I can't see a problem with that. We were thinking about, oh my gosh, what happens if somebody's on the ground and
Okay, the road's down.
access?
That helps, yeah.
Yeah, the road's down here where the cursor is. That's where the road is.
Yeah,
So it's gonna be all the way back.
So you're saying 15 feet from that
Purple.
line?
Yeah. Yeah, so I think it's much better, but I think we're probably ready for
Yeah.
a motion.
Thank you.
Okay, well, no, thank you for allowing me to speak.
Absolutely. I'm gonna make a motion to approve BZA 26003 as submitted on the hardships that they presented in their application.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Those opposed? Very good. Thank you very much, everyone, for being here for that one. Next item is BZA 260004. We'll have staff comments.
The applicant is requesting one variance related to a detached sign in a CG1 zoning district. The request is to increase the maximum allowed height for a detached sign in a CG1 zoning district from 10 feet to 20 feet. According to information provided by the applicant, the existing detached sign on the property measures approximately 20 feet tall. It is oriented towards North 21st. The applicant proposes to replace the sign with an updated version of similar scale that reflects the new tenant's brand. The proposed sign would be located in generally the same location as the existing sign and would maintain the same orientation. The applicant should further explain how the chosen location and orientation align with their stated hardship regarding visibility from Western Avenue. Specifically, the applicant should clarify why an alternative location along Western Avenue where visibility would presumably be greater was not considered.
Thank you. Will you state your name and address for the record?
Sure, thank you. It's Tom Allen, 2408 Chatham Highway, representing Allen Sign Company. Thanks for hearing me. Basically, that's very well read there. It's pretty much exactly like we would say, and I did a horrible job. I apologize for this hardship portion, which I just read a few minutes ago. I don't know what I wrote there, but it was several weeks ago. So basically, we just, as you stated, we want to replace pretty much like for like with just an updated sign, get rid of the big piece of concrete, get in something more modern looking. The hardship is it's on two things. On the Western Avenue side, it's recessed. There should be some photos to get it with this project and some renderings. It's where the sign is currently sitting and will be replaced there is down about a 10-foot grade from Western Avenue. And so it makes it hard to see. We replace the sign per code ordinance, it would be 10 foot tall, allowable, which some of the renderings we put in showing you 10 feet from Western Avenue is very difficult to see, so hard enough to see that top portion at 20 feet tall. Essentially, it's still 10 feet wide, so pretty much like it is currently, just a more modern update. That's the 10-foot version there, as shown with the 20-foot version adjacent to it. And then there's a right-of-way. The state owns a right-of-way cutout on the Western Avenue side of this project, which, without going through the state hoops, would be difficult to get closer to Western Avenue from that location. So we didn't want to pursue that avenue. We just thought we'd try to replace it. They're happy with where it is, and we can make it look like their new logo. And so that's pretty much what we're asking. Just pretty much like for like, at the same height, but updated versions.
Thank you very much. Do we have anyone else here to speak in favor of opposition? And we have one in opposition, so if you'll step aside. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Joyce Snow. I live at 1540 Aguilera Avenue, Knoxville, Tennessee 37919. First of all, this sign is not located on the state highway, as the application says. It's not located on Western Avenue. I think it could have been located on Western Avenue if they had chosen to do so originally, but the applicant chose to locate the sign several dozen feet away from Western Avenue down the slope on 21st Street, making this a self-imposed hardship. A 10-foot tall sign will be perfectly visible from 21st Street, where the sign is actually addressed. I'm not sure I quite understood what the last speaker said, but it looks to me like there's room on the property to move the sign closer to the corner of Western Avenue and 21st Street to get greater visibility from Western Avenue, which is the goal. If the sign is moved, I don't know if it would be possible to also place a directional sign at the entrance to the driveway on 21st Street where the ground sign now stands. It would also be possible to gain greater visibility from Western Avenue by using attached signage on the front of the building. There's currently an attached sign over the entrance on Western Avenue that reads Cherokee Health Systems. And I don't know if there's a plan to replace that sign with one reading River Valley Health or not. But if not, the building has a large facade and it would be possible to place another attached sign on the front of the building that says River Valley Health. However, included in the application, if somebody could scroll down, there's the middle one, that next one, the next picture, one down, right there. If I don't know if you can enlarge that, but it's a photograph that's obviously taken from Western Avenue that I think depicts the 10-foot sign at that location, where this 20-foot sign is located now. And it's hard to see in this picture, but if you enlarge it, you can see that the 10-foot sign is clearly visible from Western Avenue. It may not be as tall as they would like, but see right there, it is visible when you're driving by. You can see that sign pretty well. I think that is a picture of the 10-foot sign. The sign ordinance that was enacted in 2015 was designed to reduce size. The ordinance was intentionally written so that when an existing sign was replaced or redesigned, it would have to come into compliance with new standards. It is a feature of the ordinance and not a bug. I was on the sign task force and this was discussed ad nauseum. The task force went on for over 3 years. The state does not allow the amortization of existing signs, and so this is a way to allow people to maintain their existing signs, even though the new standards were enacted. But if you want to change or replace the sign, then you have to come into compliance with the standards. This applicant does not have any legal hardships as specified by the ordinance that justifies not complying with the sign standards of Article 13. Strict application of the ordinance would not deprive the owner of reasonable use of the property. The applicant will not be prevented from using this property as the zoning ordinance intended, and mere loss in value shall not justify a variance. There must be a deprivation of beneficial use of land. In conclusion, I guess I forgot to say originally I'm here on behalf of Scenic Knoxville. Scenic Knoxville asks that you deny this ordinance request. Thank you.
Is there anyone else here to speak in favor or opposition to this item? Do you have any
Oh, I
you want to respond to?
Excellent. Well, I appreciate Scenic Knoxville in your opinions here. That is the state, I believe that is a state highway. I may be mistaken there, but nevertheless, that cutout is the property line, as you can see from the GIS map. So you can't put it into that area there, as I understand it. So you could not put it any closer to Western Avenue. That sign,
So you're saying it's here because it couldn't be there?
That's correct.
But could it be there?
You could, but you lose your line of sight visibility on Western Avenue. This is designed for people, especially older people, people with disabilities. People that utilize this particular facility are in a community in need. If you're not familiar with River Valley's taken over Cherokee Healthcare, has done a great job in our community for helping the neighborhood, people in need, many of which are older, don't have a lot of facilities otherwise available to them. And so I'm pretty sure the original applicant put that sign in what they did at the height they did. At that time was legal, of course. But for visibility from Western Avenue, it's not to be seen from 21st. There's another sign down there from 21st to the side street. So that's to be seen for accessibility to know where to turn in. So I had elderly parents that were driving still at 65, 75, pushing up in the mid 80s. And if they missed a turn, it was a big deal. And so get to a medical facility for somebody in need of mental health, physical health care because they can't see a sign is a shame to me. If you scroll back up to that photograph I had, the 10-foot one that she said.
You got about 30 more seconds.
Okay, so I'm saying the 10-foot shows that she's right. It is 10 foot tall, and you cannot see it from Western. That's what we're trying to say. See it from Western. So we ask that you do please allow it for the client to take care of their patients. Thank you.
Thank you. Open for board discussion.
The internet tells me to stay around for work.
Western Avenue is, I think Joyce was saying the sign more relates to the street, which is not a statement.
I think they clearly made it taller though, right, to get perspective from Western Avenue to start with before the new sign opens.
Yeah, I'm sure that's why they did it. Again, it's a question of you maintain what you have versus you fully replace it. At that point, if you're fully replacing it, consideration for moving it or doing another type of signage seems to be a good consideration.
What does that sign do for you?
So the problem is that they need it bigger here so that it can be seen from the rear. Our kids are moving it closer to.
To tell you where to go, right?
Here would not.
The parking lot is down here in the front door, so you.
Yeah, and I guess that would be, I don't know the needs of how many signs are already in the property and everything else, but how that relates to the question of if there's something on the building, is there even room for another one? Is directional signage? There's a lot of other things that are brought up as questions that I don't know.
Mark is directional signage. It would be allowed if the site is over 2.5 acres. That's what we mean.
Well, I'm saying directional, specific or not, it's there to identify where folks are supposed to go.
Based on the plan, we belong to 7 acres.
And the topography is there. I think it's like 7 anything.
Topography is there, right?
Reducing topography is there, and the gradient is going down.
Yeah, I guess in my mind, we've had similar, as East Tennessee, almost every property has slope, and we've had this conversation recently about Middlebrook and the separation between the two different directions. I think it's a significant great change. I think the point from seeing Knoxville of very rebuilding it, considering relocating it, if you can put it here for recognition for higher speed, and you have a directional turn here. It seems like there are options available in the ordinance to allow them to comply.
And that's actually Western Avenue.
Said multiple times, rebuild it.
You might have to speak on it because this one doesn't carry as well.
No, that's fine. If we're rebuilding, we said it multiple times, if we're rebuilding our current standards. And in this instance, it probably means relocating, going a different route.
willing to make a motion here to deny BZA 260004 absence of hardship.
I'll second.
We have a motion and a second. All those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
All those opposed?
Opposed.
We have a split. Christina, it fails automatically.
This one does fail. Even though technically you only have to do a vote the other way if there's a tie, I would go ahead and do it in this case since we started with a motion to deny. I would go ahead and make a motion to approve. Somebody can second it just for the purpose of keeping it going.
Yeah, make a motion to approve variance BZA 26004.
I'll second.
All right, we have a motion and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? Aye. So the variance has failed. Thanks for your help, procedure. Okay, next on the item is BZA 260005, which was postponed. Following that is BZA 260006. Is the applicant with us? Excellent. While she makes her way up, we have the staff comments.
Yes, the applicant is requesting two variances related to proposed detached dwelling sign in CG 1 zoning district. The first request is to decrease the minimum required setback for a detached sign in the CG 1 zoning district from 10 feet from street right of way to 2 inches. The second request is to increase the maximum lot height for a detached sign in the CG 1 zoning district from 10 feet to 15 feet. The applicant is proposing a detached multi-tenant sign along Teen Hill Drive, where the property currently does not have an existing detached sign. Due to existing site improvements, the proposed sign will be located 2 inches from the front property line, which also serves as the street right of way. Teen Hill Drive is a 2-lane road with a posted speed limit of 40 miles per hour. The applicant should address whether alternative locations of the property were evaluated that would meet the required setbacks and provide justification for how a 15-foot tall sign meets the intent of being the minimum adjustment necessary.
Thank you. You'll start with your name and address for the record.
I'm Brittany Green, and my address is 912 47th Street in Knoxville, Tennessee. I'm not sure about the overall height comment. The overall height of the sign is 115 inches, which is 9 foot 7 inches, so we are still compliant with that. I think there might have been some revisions after the first comment came through. We are just requesting that the setback be revised for this property. It was originally an architectural building, or an architect was in there. The new property owners have transformed that building into a multi-tenant building for 2 different medical offices, and we're planning on having a third. So they would appreciate being allowed to have a monument sign to reflect the different tenants. As along the property line, there is not anywhere really any further. We've placed the sign as far back as we possibly could put it. We do have yet to get an official plat survey done and kind of mark the property lines, but based on what I could find on GIS and kind of where the utility lines were along for the electrical along the property, that was where we determined was the best place to place the sign.
Thank you. Is there anyone here to speak in favor or opposition? We have someone here to speak.
Joyce Bell, 1540 Aguila Avenue, Knoxville, Tennessee 37919, and I'm here as president of Scenic Knoxville. And I didn't understand what she said about let me just start. First of all, the first variance request, this is a large distinctive building that will have large, rarely visible attached signs for each tenant. Previous tenants have operated here without a ground sign. It's unfortunate that the parking lot was maximized such that the setback requirements for a ground sign cannot be met. With regard to the second variance request, are they requesting a 15-foot sign?
They're not asking for that.
I'm sorry?
They're not asking for that.
So it would be a 10-foot tall sign?
Oh, she says 9'7".
Oh, 9'7". Okay. All right, then, because they didn't provide any justification for a taller sign. That's all I have to say.
Thank you. You have 2 minutes if you would like to respond to any of those items.
Basically, to explain the hardship a little bit more now that you have the GIS map pulled up, there is a setback from pavement to the property line already, which is 15 feet 2 inches. And then we have reduced the width of the sign itself twice already to kind of stay within our property lines. As far as the previous tenants, we are planning on adding a third tenant, so there'll be 3 people in the building. I'm not exactly sure the history of the building to its entirety. I just know what I have been told from the customers themselves. But that 2-inch setback is, it could be more, it could be less, depending on what the survey is. I understand it's not code compliant, but we do have a true hardship due to the parcel itself not having anywhere else to install a sign.
All right, that ought to be for board discussion.
I'm real familiar with the property. I looked at it real hard for a client. I don't what she's describing is very accurate from being over there. If you take into account existing parking, topography, what's built. I think that's good.
Trying to, there's, the building is in clear view, and obviously the image here of what's been on the front of the building is highly visible. I'm trying to, the hardship of not having monuments, I'm trying to sort of, they're not lacking visibility, they're not lacking direction. I'm trying, I don't know that not having a sign is a detriment. Or tangible hardship.
I can understand someone not wanting to just continue to throw more signage on the building.
Right now?
There's 2 right now.
Yeah. But,
people have monument signs.
yeah, no, I know what they do. I just, again, from a hardship standpoint.
And a property without this condition would be allowed to have a monument sign.
The other option would be to
It's already set back
use the
for
parking
15.
space. Go into the parking lot.
Has the utility been contacted about placing a monument sign underneath overhead power lines?
We did not receive any comments from Canby for this morning's agendas.
Okay.
Agendas.
More discussion. Motion.
I like the motion personally. I like it from KUB that they're going to allow a monument sign underneath the utilities. And I'm not comfortable granting a variance of 2 inches. There isn't a survey. That might be 2 inches, and it might be more, it might be less. It's just too tight.
So,
I agree with both those points. I'll second that.
yeah, wait, stop.
What additional information, like, we sent all of this over to KUB?
We did hear back from them.
You just want us to ask again?
I think that's a valid point that we ask again and make sure they understand what's going
As
on, where.
opposed to absence of comment. An actual, it's okay.
And then, so KUB response of at least that they've reviewed it and they approved it, or if they haven't issued it.
Got it.
And then, ma'am, I believe we need to get a survey in hand to where we can actually see what is the true distance. And how much clear space do we have off the road, and all of those other safety items that we need to look at before we really consider this. Okay. So with that, I make a motion that we postpone variance BZA 26006 until next month. So
Okay, we have a motion.
30 days, okay?
Alright, we
Alright.
have a motion and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Alright, the item has been postponed to the February agenda. Item BZA 26007 was withdrawn by the applicant, so we'll be moving on to BZA 26008. Any have staff comments?
Yeah, this is a long one. The applicant is requesting 9 variances related to proposed townhouse development in an IMU zoning district. First request is to decrease the minimum required front build-to zone in an IMU zoning district for building B from 0 to 25 feet to 114.6 feet. The second request is to decrease the minimum required front build-to zone in an IMU zoning district for building C from 0 to 25 feet to 105.9 feet. Third request is to decrease the minimum required corner side build-to zone in an IMU zoning district for building C from 0 to 25 feet to 74.9 feet. The fourth request is to decrease the minimum required from build-to zone in an IMU zoning district for building D from 0 to 25 feet to 341 feet. Fifth request is to decrease the minimum required corner side build-to zone in an IMU zoning district for building D from 0 to 25 feet to 27.7 feet. The sixth request is to decrease the minimum required corner side build-to zone in an IMU zoning district for building E from 0 to 25 feet to 217.5 feet. The seventh request is to decrease the minimum required front build-to zone in an IMU zoning district for building F from 0 to 25 feet to 86.1 feet. The eighth request is to decrease the minimum required corner side build-to zone in an IMU zoning district for building F from 0 to 25 feet to 155.8 feet. The ninth request is to decrease the minimum required front build-to zone in an IMU zoning district for building G from 0 to 25 feet to 360 feet. Subject property is located between Ashley Street to the east, a railroad right-of-way to the north, and Carmichael Street to the south and west. Ashley Street is considered the front of the property because it provides primary street access and is used for the parcel's address. The property is interpreted as a corner lot as it is situated at the intersection of and abuts 2 streets. The property was rezoned from IG, which is industrial general, to IMU in March of 2025, as the IG zoning district does not permit residential uses. The proposed townhouse building includes 7 separate structures, each of which must comply with the front and corner side build-to zone requirements of the IMU zoning district. The applicant should clarify whether alternative site layouts or design options were evaluated that could have reduced the number of variants requested for this development.
Thank you. Can you start with your name and address?
Brandon Simpson, with LJA Engineering, 1111 North Shore Drive, Suite N800. Civil engineer here on behalf of the owner. We looked at this property over the last few months, looked at different layouts on it, and came to this layout we have here. Issue is the hillside protection limits the disturbance along the southwest portion of the property, and the build-to zones push disturbance to those build-to zones. So I guess, conflicting design requirements, restrict design in this area. And what I like most about this design is the feel off of Ashley Street. 80% or so of the front of it is within that Building 2 zone. So I still feel the industrial feeling will be here with the frontage along Ashley Street. Be happy to answer any questions.
It would be very helpful to me if you could go, and is there anyone else here to speak in favor of opposition? Sorry, I should say first. Can we go through, I'm looking at the map and trying to remember which side is front and back. So can we go through them one by one and maybe describe each of them with the hardship as how it applies to, does that make sense, as opposed to the bigger? There being 9 of them.
Sure, and it's 9, but it's front and corner. So if it meets the front Building 2 zone, it doesn't have variance. It meets the.
I just think for us to hear the hardship on them, because we have to vote basically either as them separate or as a package. If you could, go through, so number 1 is Building B, and it's a front setback, and just walk us through the hardship that applies to those. I could make assumptions, and I don't want to do that.
Okay, got it. Building B, hardship, being the hillside protection area. If we pushed it, if it was a connected building to Building A, it would see how would increase disturbance there in the hillside protection area. So that's number 1. Number 2, Building C. This is having drives, fire lanes connecting safe access through the site, not allowing that Building C to be pushed to the front of the site, and then not being able to push it further to the Carmichael side because the hillside protection area. Number 3 is the same for Building C. Building D, and pushing it at the corner setback, hardship, hillside protection, almost made it there just 27 feet instead of 25. Pushing to the front, and not able to connect buildings to make safe access. 4 and 5 are both Building D. Was on already to Building D, 4 and 5. Number 6, Building E. Front is met, corner is not due to access on the site. The front, the entrance to the site is just south of it, so it couldn't be pushed further to the corner of this design. Building F. Front and corner access to the site couldn't be connected to other buildings. Couldn't have access on the site if it's not connected. Building G, meeting the corner setback, not the front, due to access to the site.
Thank you. Certainly, it does help to. It's a lot going on.
I was going to comment too, some favor of the project, but I think that's Daniel leading.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Thank you.
Daniel Levy, 35231 in Knoxville, Tennessee, 37920. So, our understanding is that the intent of the Bill 2 zone is to engage the street and activate those areas. And so the way the buildings are laid out here is to get them as close to the street edge and get the intent of the code, but then we can't go further because we're battling against the topography of the hilltop protection. So I think our client would like to build more, but the hilltop's there. So like we would want to meet the intent of the code, and we've done it as much as we can without violating the hilltop limit. So we kind of, these two things work together. I think that's what this is here for, is when you have an ordinance that maybe can't be met due to impracticality or a violation of another ordinance. So that's a little bit of oversimplification. That's
the other street being the Carmichael Street.
Yes. Yeah, that's what we do. You can kind of see with us. We're based on the ordinance of the city, we're forced to meet the Bill 2 zone against Carmichael.
Yeah, and that was the part I was getting ready to ask about. So I think you just explained to me that hilltop protection pushing you.
The blue, like that blue on that diagram is what we can't touch in the rating order, right? But then the dash line, if we have 25 foot off Carmichael, of course, the ordinance doesn't have to be in our building. Right. So we can't beat that.
Yeah. And I guess if it's not connected, and it can't be connected, it can't.
We can connect the buildings, the user experience and the openness of connecting to the greenways and things is not desirable, and it's a life safety issue. We talked some with fire marshal, and they like to do a hose around the building and things like that. So it's like if we make this building bigger and connect them, then you can't get your hose around the building. And so then they have a fire issue. So from a usability and a fire safety issue. But,
I can see fire safety being a problem. You kind of created a castle effect.
Yeah.
To do it that way. So you could put a drawbridge up front and everything.
Yeah, I think the only thing that stands out to me too, and obviously professionally, is a lot going on a lot, but it must be within the density allowable by the zone here. But it is difficult when you have that many other parameters and you're trying to still maximize density.
I do think, to your point, I think the site plan's a little overwhelming. We see all the boxes.
Yeah.
Aesthetically, our client is very passionate about this being a legacy type project and engaging all the work that's going on with the rails and trails there. It's going to be a nice project. So.
It's IMU, so this is outside of this front code.
Correct.
Where's the line? Is it on the other side of the railroad?
I believe the railroad track.
Yeah, I will say from having got frontage on so many sides of the hilltop, that certainly is I understand why you can't let that go too. Fire safety, I think, starts to, because that was my next question too, is we see this on these large parcels where you have multiple buildings and you can't meet frontage if you have buildings that are on the other side of the parking lot. This is not the first one that's come before us. You have a lot more framework to than some of the others, but can appreciate that the fire department doesn't have an access point to this particular property in this case.
I'm going to make a motion. Now, I'll make a motion to approve BZA 260008 on the basis that they presented, and I won't try to restate it, but the conflict between hillside protection and the code requires consequence.
Okay,
A second.
we have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right, all those opposed? That is the last item on our agenda.
Thank you. Oh, she has to get reelected, she is as chair. I'll
It's
make a
not on
motion.
here, do we need to just do it next time?
Are you a willing nominee?
No, she's
I
gonna
guess
do
that's the
it. You know that.
Do we need to do it now or postpone it? I guess.
She can vote for herself, yeah.
Is she going to?
I'm not here, it's someone
We can
else.
postpone it. You don't wanna do a motion to postpone it?
It's not even on here, so that's.
Yeah, let's do a motion to postpone. We'll just make sure.
I'm making a motion to approve the election of a new chair and vice chair. We have to do vice chair too. To February 2026 meeting of BZA.
Second.
Aye.
Aye.
All right, next BZA meeting is February 17th, 4 PM here in room 461. Meeting adjourned.
Quitters? Quitters. What do you mean
Who?
quitters?